Welcome to the Business Spotlight Series. My name's Mark McNulty, and I am president of Action Coach Bluegrass. And today I have with me Preston Petersen, who is the owner of Origin Roofing and Exteriors. Welcome, Preston.
Good to be here, Mark.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about his journey to business, how he became an owner, the challenges of being an owner, some best practices, and just take a peek at a day in the life of what it's really like to build and operate a business. Now, if this is your first time on the channel, make sure to go ahead and like and subscribe so you get notifications when upcoming interviews are dropped. So Preston, welcome and thanks for joining us today. So tell us a little bit about Origin Roofing and Exteriors and how this all came about.
Again, Mark, thank you for the opportunity. It's great to be a part of your series. I would say that like many entrepreneurs, this was not the path that I saw for myself maybe 10, 12 years ago, right? And so the first thing I would say is for me personally, I'm a person of faith and I feel like God's given me a great opportunity to do something amazing. As far as the way that I got here, like many people, short story is that COVID changed a lot for me, right? And that's no different than anyone else. And so with that, there was a plan being formulated kind of a little bit before that, and started the company, got incorporated and all that good stuff a little bit before that, but this wasn't ever the plan. I was working in the W-2 world and working for a big time company, had a great job and all the things, but when COVID happened, that was majorly affected. And so long and the short of it was I spent another couple years with that company in a totally different role. And on the side and at nights and weekends, I was building my company, right? A lot of people similar to me, again, this is not necessarily a unique story, but did that side hustle thing, if you will, and the side hustles become the main hustle. Took a lot of hours outside of the normal W-2 deal, but ultimately saw an opportunity to jump ship out of the W-2 world and into working for myself. And so that's what I'm doing. It was kind of like forced upon me in a way, and I'm thankful for the opportunity. It's sink or swim.
Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about your team right now. What's the makeup of your team these days?
Yeah. So the cool part about like this coming upon me, like I said, and just the opportunity that's in front of me is that I really believe in the kind of the impetus behind what I'm doing is to change lives. So for me, it's changing the lives of our customers, because in the industry that I'm in, it's very much, you got not a whole lot of choices of great exterior contractors, and you got a lot of bad choices. And so changing lives of our customers. And then the other piece to your point is changing lives of our employees. And so from a team standpoint, my goal is really to give people an opportunity and a vehicle to change their life. Right now, we have a number of employees. So we have a couple sales folks. Those are people who go out and obviously drive top line revenue. We have one estimator. So in our business, a lot of times the bottleneck, if you will, can be getting that paperwork done, right? So we all want to in the construction business, you want to do the construction, but it's a lot of the paperwork and getting to there. It's a tough part. And then we have a production manager. So we make sure that we have a guy that's dedicated only to the construction side of the business and producing work. And then we also have a superintendent who stays on the job all day and does these things to make sure that what we actually say we're doing, holding our guys accountable, our installers accountable. And then I have full-time admin because to be honest with you, Mark, I suck at paperwork. And the thing is, you don't want to tangle with the IRS. You don't want to tangle with these people that when you don't do your paperwork right, it can stall everything out. That's kind of where my team's at right now. I actually have 3 more salesmen starting later, probably about 3 weeks from now, later this month. It's February. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really looking forward to growing our top line revenue this year. So we're positioned to do so, and that's the plan.
Okay, awesome. So tell us about what's your day-to-day role now?
Yeah. So the day-to-day role for me is I've gotten to that place in the business where you got like 1 foot in the swamp and 1 foot out, right? So for me, a lot of times it is building the business, like working on the business, not in it. I'm about standard operating procedures. So as an example, we use these, like all of our processes have punch out, like this is a build process, pre-build to punch out, SOP procedures, checklist, all that kind of stuff. So that's a big part of what I do. But the other part is when things go awry or someone calls in sick or whatever, I'm still on the job. I'm still out there showing my sales guys how to close deals, showing the construction guys the right way to do things. And so at the end of the day, like I still have one foot in of the swamp, I would say. Probably last year I was way more in the swamp. Now I'm a little bit out. And the goal is to get out of the swamp and see above and scale the company. So that's kind of my day to day. I would say the last thing is I don't ever ask anything of anyone that I'm not willing to do. So I think for me, the big thing is to be willing to do it, but not necessarily stay in that because you can't grow that way.
Okay. So tell us about, so obviously roofing and then exteriors. Kind of what's the extent of the different types of work you do for people?
Absolutely, yeah. So we do roofing of all types, commercial and residential. So we do most people are familiar with asphalt shingles. We do metal roofing. We do membrane roofing, so flat work, which is like TPO, PVC, EPDM. We do metal roofing, so we're certified with metal sales here, and we do standing seam. We do all kind of metal panels, and then we do like the exteriors portion of what we do, right? So we do commercial and residential siding. So we do anything from like your standard vinyl. We do Hardy. We're a certified Hardy installer. We do a lot with composite materials, which is like the new wave of stuff, which is awesome. We do any type of cladding on a wall that you can put on a wall. We'll do it, as well as windows. So we got windows from A to Z, meaning like rental property windows all the way up to Anderson E series, and then we do gutter systems. So anything that manages water. So that's kind of what we do.
Okay. There's a lot of competition, right? A lot of roofers out there, a lot of guys doing siding and gutters, right? So
Yeah.
what do you do to stand out in the marketplace?
Yeah, absolutely. What's crazy about that is it's not that hard. At first, it's hard. At first, you're trying to compete with every single person that's got a truck and a ladder. But what happens is, in my opinion, if you do these couple things to stand out, you start to gain a lot of momentum, especially word of mouth, and build a reputation. So when you answer the phone, so I say, hey, pick the phone up, answer. When it rings, answer, right? And when I say answer the phone, like whatever communication's coming across, answer, right? And then respond accordingly. The other thing is do what you say you're going to do. And so it's okay when, like if we're going to be late or something happens or material's missing or whatever. But when you communicate that to people and you say, hey, I'll be there tomorrow, or I'm going to be late, I'm going to be there in 20 minutes, be there in 20 minutes. And what we've done is we've been able to build a reputation that shows, whether through Google review or whether through word of mouth, that we do what we say we're going to do, especially when nobody's looking. And so for us, that has really helped us stand out in the marketplace. We don't compete on price. So for me, a lot of people be like, oh, I'm the low cost leader. The problem is you live and die on price, right? So for us, we're competitive. We're never going to be the least expensive guy, but we're always going to take care of your building or your property, whatever project, like it's my own. So that's helped us quite a bit. The other thing is, I will tell you, social media is huge. Content is huge. You have to put content out there, even if you think nobody's looking. You have to do it. I'm uncomfortable in that space, but I do it, and it's really helped us quite a bit because people want to know who I am. I didn't think that was a big deal, but people want to know who I am, who they're buying from. And so telling my story, telling about the company has really helped. I think that would help contractors out too. Guys who will put themselves out there, that helps us a lot.
Okay. What's one thing you wish the public knew about your company?
Yeah. I wish that one thing that the public knew about our company is that we give big. So we are very involved in organizations here in Louisville and across the world. I want to impact as much as I can and give big. And so, we don't always tell that story, but we're thankful for the opportunity to be involved with groups here in Louisville, like Spark Hope is an organization we're partnered with, we give to, we provide support to. The other thing is like we impact others outside of the US as well. And so again, just however we can impact the world to be better and create better change, we do that quite a bit. And that's near and dear to my heart, man. And, sometimes I don't always tell that story. So I would say that's a big thing I want people to know.
Okay, awesome, awesome. What were some of the challenges of going from side gig to full time? What were some obstacles or barriers you had to kind of overcome, and what did you do to kind of blast through them? Because you're well on the other side of the initial ones right now.
Yeah, yeah. I would say for anybody that is trying to go from like let's say they're working for somebody else and if they want their side gig to be their main gig, Number one is I would tell you, no one's going to build it for you. So you have to be willing to do things that you don't want to do, and you have to do them when you don't feel like it. For me, part of my story is I started in 2017. I lost about 150 pounds the hard way. And that taught me a lot about mental toughness and doing things when I don't feel like it. Everybody thinks they want to be a business owner until it's their issue at 11 o'clock at night or 1 o'clock in the morning. It's their problem. It's their deadline. And then they don't feel like doing it and they don't do it. And if you don't do it, you will drown. So that's number one, is you have to have the discipline to do things that you don't want to do, especially when you're working for somebody else trying to make the main gig. So the other thing is too, I would say, is that it's always going to cost you more than you think. So it's going to cost you more financially. So when you're trying to make it from main to like take your side hustle to the main hustle, I would say the biggest thing is make sure you have enough cash put back. And when you think you have enough, put more back, because it's always more than you think. And there's always going to be some problem, and you got to have enough money to survive. The other thing is it's going to cost you time. It's going to cost you more time than you think. It's going to cost you more energy than you think. So keep in mind, like everything, you're going to sacrifice everything else for that for a period of time. The other thing is it's going to cost you some people. And I can tell you that when you jump from W-2 to, working for yourself, and you invest in yourself and you take that on, a lot of people don't know what to do with that. And a lot of people, they get hurt because maybe you don't spend as much time or whatever, and you lose people along the way. So my point is, ultimately, it's going to cost you more than you think. And what you're looking for is downstream. That's one piece of advice I would tell you at the start. No one tells you, you don't realize, and it can be really tough, especially mentally. So just be prepared for that stuff.
Mhm. Okay, awesome. So tell me a little bit about your management style as as you're growing your team, right? You're building your sales force, you've got a production manager, a field supervisor. So tell us a little bit about your management style.
Absolutely. So I come from, in the W-2 world, I was in a semi-executive role. So the nice thing is like I learned a lot about leading people. And so one of the things I would tell you is I'm big on empowerment. I'm big on letting people make the decisions that they need to make for their role because they're closest to the fire. I also believe in hiring and paying for the best talent. So when people are the best at what they do and they're smarter than me at what they do, hire them, put them in that role, and do that in every possible way that you can in your company. Every possible role, every possible plug-in, do it. It has helped us tremendously. The estimator is an example. I'm terrible with spreadsheets. I'm terrible with figuring all that out. I hate like working through those things on the computer. But I found a guy that is just a genius at that, right? And I'm paying him to do it. And I'm paying him well to do it because he's so good at it. But he is, 4 or 5x my ability quickly to get that stuff out. So I'd say my management style is hire the right people, get them on the bus, put them in the right seat, and make sure that they're empowered. The other thing is that my management style is big on performance. And so what I believe is that performance will show how much someone is dedicated to what we're doing. And ultimately, that performance in blends integrity, honesty, it blends all those things together and ultimately creates a culture. So my management style is empower them and protect the culture. That's where I'm at with it. If you don't fit the culture or you put the culture at risk, you're not part of the team, you're not on the bus anymore, right? But if you are about protecting the culture and you want to perform and you want to bring everybody up, hey, you're going to get empowerment from me. You're going to get all the things you need, and you're going to run fast. So that's my style.
So what is your culture? What is the culture you're protecting? How would you describe it? Because that's sometimes hard to describe, but really
Absolutely.
critical.
Absolutely. Very critical. So I would say a couple things. So we have 3 company pillars. One is culture, one is community, and one is customers. Okay. And they kind of all go together. But from a culture standpoint, what those sub pillars look like are this: it's high performance, it's integrity, it's teamwork, it is also doing what other people won't do, right? Just doing those things. So what we kind of sum that up is, and I'm gonna give a plug to this guy named Brandon James. He owns Brandon J Roofing in Missouri. This guy's a beast. I really listened to what he said over the last few years, and there's something that he talks about that I've adopted in my business called the WIT mentality, whatever it takes. That is the mentality that defines our culture here at Origin Roofing and Exteriors. We make no excuses. We do whatever it takes. And so that really separates people because most people say they will do whatever it takes, but it's the action that speaks. And so I would say that defines our culture.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So covered a lot here today. I've got kind of a last few serious questions here. So what's your number one key to success, Ben?
Yeah. I would say I'm going to steal this from another guy too. There's a guy named Todd Price who was a owner of Perimeter Roofing, and he's in the roofing space, big time name in the roofing space. Him and Raymond Little and those guys have built a huge company and sold it and all the things. But one of the things they both used to say, and they say now, and it's really helped me personally, is just keep pushing. When you think that like it's impossible and there's nowhere to go, like that's that old saying, it's always darkest before the dawn. Keep pushing. And that to me, I think when I'm able to do that, it puts me ahead of other people. It puts me ahead of people who don't push. It puts me ahead of people who give up, and allows me to be part of this like 1% space. So I would say that.
Okay, awesome. So other than that key there, what's one piece of advice you would give to other business owners?
Yeah. One piece of advice, a key piece of advice is kind of two roles that I think business owners struggle with that I know I did, and it has changed my life when I've done this. As fast as you possibly can, get to revenue where it needs to be, and hire an admin. Do not get stuck in that space with all the admin work. Hire an admin. If it's virtual, whatever, but get that off your plate and push everything you can to them. So that, and then the other thing I would say is we all can do these physical activities. Like I can build roofs and all this stuff. But one of the things is you need to keep your financials straight. Get the best bookkeeping company that's familiar with your industry. Familiar with your industry is the key words. That's very important. And then make sure you've got a phenomenal CPA. Those things right there, those two things can change your entire business for good or for bad. I would say that. Last thing I would say is take care of your health. If you're not taking care of your health, you got nothing. If you get sick, something happens, you get injured, whatever, you're cooked. So you got to make sure that you take care of your health. Those things I would say.
Okay, awesome. So what's a book you're reading or listening to that you would recommend to other business owners?
Yeah, man. Yeah, let me pull this up for you. I would tell you, I'm gonna put this out there too. This is applicable to anyone, but I would say specifically to male business owners. The book I'm reading right now, and it's changed my life. And it's specifically about who we are as men. It's not necessarily about business, but it's about our internals as men. It's a book by John Eldridge called Wild at Heart. And I would just tell you, man, like all I can say is that most of us men, in business or not, we're walking around and we got a lot of things that we're working through, right? Business especially compounds that when you're working for yourself, a lot of stress and a lot of things. And I would just say, get into a space where you're figuring out who you are and you're like right here. And this book has helped me a ton. So Wild at Heart by John Eldridge.
Oh, okay, awesome. I'll have to add that to my list on Audible.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for new ideas, and a lot of them aren't necessarily business books. So I always like it when I hear something that's not just a pure business book, because we're people first,
Right.
business second, right?
That's right. That's right.
So before I get to my last question, so tell our listeners kind of how they can find you, contact you. What are all the different ways they can get a quote, get an estimate?
Absolutely. Yeah. So our website, first and foremost, originconstructionky.com. It's a phenomenal site. You actually, if you're looking for a roofing estimate, we have an instant estimator on there. So you can like put your address in. It's plus or minus 5%. So it gives you a good idea of what's going on there. You get like 45, 60 seconds. It's very fast. So there, all of our socials. So Origin Roofing and Exteriors KYs on Instagram, Facebook. We just got our Twitter going, and then we're gonna get the TikTok going. We're not there yet, but we're gonna get that going. So we're on everything else, LinkedIn as well. It's on there too. So any of those, our phone number 502-276-5353. That's our answering service. They'll answer, get you an appointment set up. So any place like that, you got us. And then we have a shop. So we have a physical location in Louisville, 724 Linden Lane. You can walk in anytime, and we're here.
Okay, great. So thank you. So, all right, last question of the day. What inspires you the most right now?
Man, I would say for me, it's building a life that would change my daughter's lives and their kids' lives forever. I want to be the person that breaks that chain and can impact generations to come, not only from a financial perspective, but from a legacy perspective. And I think when I look back at my previous years, just in all transparency, I wasn't in the space of trying to build the best legacy possible. And so I would say that is what inspires me to kind of rewrite some history and rewrite some of my past. And I've been given a second chance, and that's my intent. So I'm thankful for my girls and what God's done for me in my life. And I cannot wait to look back and hopefully see them just say, hey, like my dad did this and he's changed his legacy and he's impacted our life and others as well. So I'd say that's the biggest thing.
Okay, awesome. Leaving a legacy is hard to do as a W-2. I always view it as a next chance versus a second chance,
Good, man. I like that. I'm gonna take that from you.
right? There's always a next, right? And you saw it and you grabbed it and you went with it. So congrats to that. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Preston Petersen, owner of Origin Roofing and Exteriors. He has shared a lot of little nuggets with us today about starting a business, about going from side gig to full time, and some of the challenges of doing that to think about. He shared a little bit about the culture he's building and how he is putting his team together and managing and leading them. So lots of nuggets in this. I recommend watching it a couple times and then go ahead and bookmarking us so you don't miss future opportunities to learn from the other Prestons of the world as we do more interviews. So Preston, thank you so much for being here and sharing your time with us today.
Yeah, Mark, thank you so much. It's been an honor and a privilege. We're very much thankful for it and grateful for the opportunity just to share a little bit about what we're doing.
All right, awesome. All right, so this has been Coach Mark with Action Coach Bluegrass and Preston Petersen with Origin Roofing and Exteriors. And everybody have a great day, and we'll see you on the next interview. Thanks.